Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got Jayden Daniels, the future of the Washington Commanders. Let's check this out.
The Commanders hopefully have their franchise quarterback.
Drafted him. They drafted him number 2 overall.
One of the biggest stories this offseason has been who Washington would draft second overall.
I mean, it was pretty much obvious after the year that Jayden Daniels had last year.
The Bears at 1 was pretty much a given. That left a decision between Drake May or Jayden Daniels. But it sounds like JJ McCarthy was more likely than May. The pick was Jayden, and while I did prefer May, it's hard to blame general manager Adam Peters for going with Jayden Daniels.
I mean, the upside is just tremendous with him. Him being an elite, talented, dual threat QB.
50 total touchdowns, 40 passing, 10 rushing, 3,800 passing yards, 1,100 rushing yards, and only 4 interceptions. He won the Heisman Trophy. Daniels was a 5-year starter, is the only player to pass for 12,000 yards and rush for 3,000 yards in a career, and became the only player to pass for over 350 yards and rush for over 200 yards.
That game was crazy against Florida.
The season before he won the Heisman was his first at LSU under Brian Kelly. He had 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and rushed for 900 yards and 11 touchdowns.
Bro takes care of the ball beautifully.
It was nothing compared to 2023.
He doesn't throw many interceptions. 3 his first year in LSU, and then 4 last year.
Edwards. He passed for 2,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, plus 355 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing. ASU only played 4 games during COVID. Jayden had 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, an interception, 200 rushing yards, and 4 rushing touchdowns. His last season in Tempe was his worst. Jayden had 2,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 700 yards, and 6 touchdowns rushing. Jayden Daniels is an elite athlete. He has a great deep ball, and he can create in the pocket. The 2 things that every team wants in a quarterback. I like Jayden Daniels as a prospect. I did prefer Drake May's ceiling, but I was happy with either one. I'm just overall super happy.
In my opinion, Jayden Daniels was the best QB in this draft class.
3 second-round picks. At 36, the Commies went defensive tackle Jayden Newton. He played at Illinois for 4
that was a great
years.
pickup for them.
He had 73 tackles and 5 sacks over his first 2 seasons in Champaign. Newton had 62 tackles and 5.5 sacks in 2022, and he's coming off of 52 tackles and 7.5 sacks last season. Newton was a consensus All-American, and he was expected to be a first-round pick. I think Washington taking him really does signal that either Jonathan Allen or
Daron Payne is leaving.
Won't be on the roster in 2025, which makes a lot of sense.
One of them guys is getting traded. And I would think it's Daron Payne, because Jonathan Allen is way better than Daron Payne. Let's keep it a buck.
From Washington.
Even though I love both of those guys, Roll Tide, you feel me? But
you might know who he is.
You know,
if you don't, you probably remember a play he made. St. Risto picked off Michael Penix Jr. on 4th down and returned it 81 yards to essentially ice the national championship for Michigan. He actually played wide receiver for 3 seasons for the Wolverines. He only had 37 catches for 539 yards and 5 touchdowns. In 2022, he was moved to cornerback and had 58 tackles and 1 interception, coming off of Max Duggan in the college football playoff. This past season, St. Risto was a first-team All-American. After he had 44 tackles and 6 interceptions, 2 he returned for a touchdown. I like him a lot, and after drafting him, Washington took another guy I can't wait for, Ben Sinnott. He redshirted his first season at Kansas State.
I don't think I've heard of him.
15 yards in 2021. Then he had a bigger role for the next 2 seasons and was first team All Big 12 both years. Sinnott had 447 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2022 and is coming off of a career year with 676 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Commanders also had 2 third-round picks. They took offensive tackle Brandon Coleman. I didn't know much about him before the draft at all. He actually grew up in Germany. He started playing offensive line for the first time as a senior in high school and actually played at Trinity Valley Community community college the next year. He committed to TCU in 2020, and he started 34 games over 4 seasons.
Damn.
Coleman made starts at left tackle, left guard, and right guard. The third guy I really like is Luke
McCaffrey, yeah, the
Christian
brother of
McCaffrey's little
CMC.
brother. He played quarterback at Nebraska for 2
I fuck
years
with him.
and decided to
I've
transfer to
watched some of
Louisville,
his
but
highlights.
left very soon after to go to Rice instead. He started 3 games at QB for the Rice Owls in 2021 and then was moved to wide receiver in 2022. He had 700 yards and 6 touchdowns in his first season at wide receiver and had 963 yards and 12 touchdowns last season, en route to being named first team All AAC. Washington had 3 picks on day 3 and used them all on defensive guys. 2 were 5th rounders, Temple linebacker Jordan McGee and Washington safety Dominique Hampton. McGee started at Temple in 2019 and became a starter in 2021.
Damn,
He
that
led the
tackle was
Owls with
nasty.
86
Oh my
tackles
gosh.
in 2022 and 80 tackles last season. He had 235 tackles and 8 sacks in his collegiate career. Now, Hampton was your ever so common 6-year college player. He redshirted in 2018 and got a COVID year. Hampton only played in 9 games over his first 3 seasons in Seattle before playing 36 over his last 3. He finished his college career with 189 tackles and 2 interceptions. Both came in 2023. The Commies' final pick of the draft was Javonte Jean-Baptiste in the 7th round. He played college ball for 6 years too, 5 at Ohio State. Last season at Notre Dame, he had 47 tackles and 4 sacks. I did like the Commanders' draft. They filled spots on defense that were needed, and more importantly, they improved the offense. The development of Jayden Daniels
to Terry McLaurin is going to be scary. That was so cheesy. Oh my gosh. That was so fucking cheesy. I was trying to, you know, make a damn joke with Scary Terry, but that shit, it did not come out right at all. Just ignore that.
He has plenty of experience with young quarterbacks. This offseason, Washington signed tight end Zach Ertz, who played in Arizona for Cliff. He's a veteran presence just to catch passes. Terry McLaurin's entering his 6th year in the pros. He's had 4 straight 1,000-yard season. It is the clear number 1.
I gotta react to Terry McLaurin highlights as well.
He just didn't make a jump in his sophomore season. He had about 500 yards again and 3 less touchdowns, but he did have 14 more receptions. And honestly, Eric Bieniemy's offense really struggled last season, and you can chalk up a lot of bad
to the
stats
O-line.
from these guys just to that. Brian
Like, bro, the
Jr.
O-line was
didn't carry the ball as
horrible.
many times as he probably should have. He ended up with 733 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he'll share the backfield with Austin Eckler now. Eckler had a down season in 2023, but he had 25 rushing touchdowns over the 2-year span before it. If there is a big concern for the development of Jayden Daniels, it's the offensive line. Right guard Sam Cosmi was great last season.
I mean, but hey, he can turn that to a positive, because him being on the run in the backfield and be able to evade defenders is definitely going to bail a lot of those O linemen out this year.
Wiley really struggled. He played for the Chiefs.
So you need this type of guy that can make plays with his feet.
Washington also signed center Tyler Biadasz, who played on the Cowboys last season. The Commanders also signed defensive end Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler Jr. from Dallas, linebacker Bobby Wagner, and wide receiver Olamide Zaccheaus, who all played for new Commanders head coach Dan Quinn elsewhere. He's bringing in his guys, and I support it.
Nigga
No
came
matter
with the
how good
cavalry.
roster is, the quarterback has to be good to win. Washington took Jayden Daniels for a reason and have to develop him now, but it's hard for me to trust the process. Like Jayden Daniels, Robert Griffin III was the 2nd overall pick. Washington took him in the 2012 NFL Draft, and his rookie season was special. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year, won the NFC East. Washington lost to the Seahawks in the wild card, and RG3 re-injured his LCL that he hurt in Week 14. He had surgery on his LCL and ACL after the season and was never the same. He had a disappointing 2013, and then in 2014, he dislocated his ankle, struggled, and didn't play for Washington again.
I mean, yeah, that injury really ruined his career, bro.
He only ended up playing 13 games.
RP Deshaun Watson, not Deshaun Watson, just Dwayne Haskins. Fuck.
Washington has just not had a good track record developing quarterbacks, and I really hope that changes this time around with Jayden Daniels. A new era is here post Dan Snyder, and maybe this time it'll be different.
Hey man, what do you guys think? What do you Commanders fans think about the Jayden Daniels selection? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on my post notifications, get notified whenever I drop another banger video. And without further ado, I'm out. Gang.